existence.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Roundtable on the Worldwide Resistance Network. I, of course, am your host, the Tin Man, Chris Sheldon, with the Worldwide Resistance Network. Joining me, as of right now, is Go Reverend Ordo and Curse Zero. Jenny will be joining us momentarily, and in the meantime, filling her spot is the infamous Myth Monster Blue, the fictitious product that doesn't actually fucking exist and is about to fall on my floor because we are not funded by APAC or any sort of corporate sponsors. We are of the people, by the people, for the people. So if you like this broadcast, share the live feeds, follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and be sure to check us out on our online store at realtwrn.printerpie.me. And of course, last but not least, be sure to join in the conversation. If you have any thoughts, opinions, hell, you just want to troll us, come be a part of the conversation, because we here at the Worldwide Resistance Network are probably one of the only political podcasts, if not the political podcast, the only political podcast, I would probably say, where you are a part of the conversation from beginning to end. Whereas most people will just throw out a hotline number. Nah, we say fuck that shit. Just come be a part of the show and see where it goes. So if you have any thoughts, opinions, or whatever, leave them in the comments. Comments are open, and somebody already loves us. Gangster Talks Podcast, Zero Rules.
Yeah, that's somebody I
Talks Podcast.
Too.
Yeah, is that who I think that is? Is that Ben?
No.
Our new host, Ben? No, who is that?
That's somebody I know. I call him GG, Gangster Ghost is his name.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I thought maybe it might have been somebody else, but all good. Welcome, Gangster Talks Podcast. Welcome. Look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions as we go about today. And like I said, Jenny will be joining us shortly. In the meantime, Revan, I'm going to pretty much be passing the torch to you this evening, my friend. Go ahead and take us into tonight's topic, will you?
Tonight's topic is about the mysterious disappearance and or passing of 14 scientists. Now, this has to revolve around the whole UFO fiasco. And
okay,
this is the area that is right around mine and Zero's alley, and Zero and I have been at this area for a long fucking time. And I tell you what, now this isn't the only time that people are missing. Okay, you had astronomers, you have bankers that went missing or dead.
Yeah.
Natural health doctors that are found dead. But here we have scientists that have gone missing.
Okay.
So far that we know of, 2 went missing. 1 went missing on a walk with a friend at a state park. 1 went missing after his wife left, leaving his phone. His basically walked out with nothing but his ass.
Left his phone, his glasses, his keys, things you don't generally leave behind.
What I heard, the ones that are missing, they left their phone, keys, and wallet, but they took a handgun with them. But all of them were in some kind of black book government project together. And I apologize, I personally haven't done every stitch of my homework where I know what each one of them were a specialist in, so I can give you some kind of plausible idea of what they may be coming up with.
Well, I took the liberty, and I've got that covered for you for the most part. I'm going to go ahead and screen share here. At least 11 scientists and researchers with ties to U.S. nuclear, aerospace, and defense programs have died or gone missing since 2022, prompting a federal investigation in 2026. The White House, FBI, and Department of Energy are conducting a holistic review to determine if the cases are linked, particularly due to individuals' access to classified information. President Donald Trump confirms he was briefed on the matter in April 2026 and describes it as pretty serious stuff while expressing hope the incidences were coincidental.
I want to reiterate, not 14 to only 10.
Say again?
There weren't 14, there are about 10.
Yeah, it said at least 11 scientists and researchers have gone missing. Let's see. There's actually a lot of high-ranking U.S. scientists tied to sensitive research regarding aerospace, one tied to UFO research. And I've got the names and their backgrounds pulled up here for anybody who's wanting to look at that real quick. Get that about 10 seconds. Robin, go ahead and take it from there.
Physicist.
The first one that went missing is named Stephen Garcia. He's 48 years old. A government contractor was last seen living his home in Albuquerque on August 28th. It was on foot, like Zero said, carrying a handgun. Police reported warning he may be a danger to himself. Garcia worked at the property custodian at Kansas City National Security Campus, which manufactures non-nuclear components for nuclear weapons. He was a top security clearance at the facility, which would allowed him wide access. Second one was Frank Maywald, a researcher with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, died on July 4th of 2024 at 61 years old in Los Angeles.
Pretty young.
According to Maywald's obituary, he specialized in space research. Frank managed the development of the SBG VSWIR instrument and had previously overseen the successful delay of 2 instruments for the AMRC program. His role included serving the technical group supervisor and contributing to various signified projects such as AMR, SWOT, KWVR, AMR, and Edition 3, as well as Hi-Fi. No public cause of death have been provided.
Don't worry, that was me.
And third one was Carl Gromar on February 16th of this year. Shot to death on his front porch. He was an astrophysicist for Caltech who collaborated with NASA and found water around exoplanets. Gromar was known for his work, collision of galaxies, and research for water outside our solar system. There was no clear motive for his death. Detectives arrested Fritz Snyder later the day for carjacking and connected to Gromar's death. Although detectives believe that the two men didn't know each other, Snyder had been arrested in December for trespassing on Gromar's property while carrying a rifle.
Yeah, that seems a little bit sus.
Wow.
Fourth guy, his name was Michael David Hicks, died on July 30th of 2023 at the age of 59.
Oh, shit.
Also a physicist with JPL. He specialized in comets and asteroids. He worked on a major space mission, including NASA's DART project, which tests whether asteroids could be deflected. Michael's passion for science was coupled with a deep appreciation for art. He pursued projects into visual media From woodblock prints to oil paintings to metalwork. He played the ukulele. His obituary stated, his cause of death has not been disclosed.
Weird.
William Neal McCasland, a retired Air General, disappeared on February 26th after leaving his New Mexico home. Rumors about McCasland's connection to alleged UFO programs sparked questions about his missing case and possible connections to other scientists on the list. During his tenure in the Air Force, McCasland oversaw classified space weapons program and his head of research at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base near Dayton, Ohio. Coulthard notes that facility has been long rumored to house fragments of extraterrestrial debris in Roswell, New Mexico. Monica Taquitos Reza, a former colleague of McCasland, was another DPL employee who disappeared on July 22nd of last year. Was on a hike. Reza went last seen hiking in LA forest with a companion. Police say Reza was about 30 feet behind the person when she smiled and waved. The person turned back around. She was gone. Rescue team searched for days, but her body was never recovered. Reza was an aerospace engineer who worked on burn-resistant and high-strength metal alloy. She also had a connection to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah, this is definitely falling into my hypothesis I'm starting to form about what they did, the kind of jobs that they knew how to do.
Oh yeah, man.
Roll with it, Zero.
The one that he just explained basically tells me that it's some sort of craft. The other ones were telling me that they're trying to figure out a propulsion method using fusion energy.
Okay.
But I'm not sure whether or not they're, quote, building it or attempting to reverse engineer some kind of mechanic like this.
Okay, we have here Melissa Cassius disappeared from her home on June 26th of last year. Was a administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory. She forgot her work badge and decided to work from home that day. She took her daughter to lunch, then disappeared. Was last seen walking along a highway without her phone, wallet, or keys. Anthony Chavez.
My bad. That's what I'm saying, Tin Man. I thought all of them left the house without their phone, keys, wallet, but with a handgun. It was weird.
Anthony Chavez, a former Los Alamos employee. Anthony Chavez disappeared on May 4th of 2025. He last seen leaving his home on foot. Officers have conducted a thorough search of his residence, hiking local trails, distributed flyers to businesses, reviewed hours of surveillance footage, and diligently followed up to the tips received. The Los Alamos government said in May of 2025. Nuno Laruro, nuclear physicist and MIT professor, was shot to death in his home on December 15th of last year. The shooting was attributed to a rivalry with another scientist.
Another scientist. So there were two scientists that disappeared in that same instance.
And then we have the last one, a Nobel Prize researcher, Jason Thomas, disappeared on December 12th, 3 days before Laruro did. His wife reported missing when he didn't return home. His body was recovered from Massachusetts Lake on March 17th of this year. The Wakefield police detective who searched the lake area, which was long been frozen, locating his body. That's the 10th victim.
Okay. So they might be actually finding more victims because Google was saying there was 11. So there might be something new that popped up in the last couple of days, maybe.
You know how they are with loose ends. If they don't want the public to know about a project, they're going to ensure that the private sector never finds out about a project.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
So,
by what I'm going by, it really looks like some kind of craft that needs some kind of new fuel, which would probably be fusion energy. And the one of the chicks that Reverend was over there talking about was talking about some kind of alloy. She was like an alloy specialist or something like that. Well,
Yeah.
that definitely has to be the whole of the craft, the actual exterior of the craft, for it to go a grand amount of distance at a velocity, expanded velocity.
speed
Go ahead.
equals distance equals density of the craft.
Exactly. So the craft wouldn't crush, so to speak, would be a theoretical plausibility of going faster than what your recommended speed is. And we're not saying breaking speed of light. We're
That
saying
would be Monica Giacchino, Giacinto, Reza. That was working on the burn resistant and high strength metal alloy. She also had connections to the right Passion Base, Air Force Base.
Okay, so we've got all these people disappearing and winding up dead. The United States government is conducting an investigation, even though they probably already know exactly what happened and who all was involved and all that fun shit. What do we know particularly about the circumstances surrounding their death? Most of them left key items at home, were alleged to have been with somebody prior to the fact, and both parties disappeared.
and all of them were known to have been working on some sort of project very recently before their time of missing or passing.
Yeah, and was it the same project or varying projects potentially relating to the same thing? Do we know definitively?
That's what I'm sitting here hypothesizing about. Go ahead.
From what I picked up in the last few days, was it had to do with UFO and the technology.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm more leaning on they're trying to reverse engineer something versus they're trying to come up with something out of thin air.
Well, I mean, they've been working with that Roswell wreckage since the 50s. So you would figure at this point, they would probably have a fairly good understanding of what it was made of, how it operates, what it uses as a fuel source, of how it operates in terms of travel, not just, the mechanics of how it works, but also, the particular means of travel, whether interdimensional time travel, standard measurements of travel. Do we have any indicators as to what we're looking at here?
Aside the fact from the plausibility that they're soon going to release that extraplanetaries do exist, and the aliens.gov has become, I heard something about, I don't understand coder talk for this day and age, but something about it became active to be able to start being wrote on so that it can start being viewed is the next step, and it's active to be written on now from what I can hear.
Okay, so for whatever reason, all the little gizmos inside just turned on.
Okay, this one I sent you a link to the video. And now,
Which one are you referring to? The first, second, or third?
Epstein involved in the missing scientist.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play that. You want to? While I'm booting that up, do you want to give the audience kind of a brief rundown of what we're looking at here?
This is by Julian Dory. He's a good, well-known podcaster. Really outspoken, really, out there. This is a new video came out 2 days ago, and here I'll play it.
Yeah, I got it right here. I got it.
Okay,
I'll pull it up right here.
Okay.
Okay. And you said the Epstein one, right?
Yeah.
All right.
They got the call. They got the call from our friend Liam Neeson.
They were like,
He
listen.
said, I have a particular set of skills.
Mm-hmm.
Skills that make me a danger to people like you.
Sound Irish.
If you
Well, he was kind of, he was still, there was a little bit of the Irish accent on that call. He let it slip. He was supposed to play an American, but he's like,
if you get this up now, I'll let you go. And that'll be the end of it. If not, I will find you and I will kill you.
like, so if you wonder, maybe this call goes to other people of Los Alamos who were like, yeah, see no evil here, no evil. Listen, bro. Yeah, I was just smoking out back on my break. I didn't see anything about that nuclear bomb being brought in with a blue alien. You don't even have to do the Men in Black thing on me. Like, we're good, fam. I ain't gonna say shit. And, then they get a dead bird in their mail as a reminder. And they're like, they look around all scared. Someone pictures them in the unmarked car over there and points at them and then drives away really slowly, and they shake and go inside, and that person then reports back like, yeah, no, he's scared shitless, we're good. But maybe Cassius, maybe.
Interesting.
There's a lot more around this. Now they're talking espionage now.
Okay.
Which is like, okay, you got 10 scientists missing. Okay, Zero9 kind of finds it a little fishier. I agree with that. Like it is fishy. It's almost like tying off loose ends, right? Tying off loose ends,
And that's the first thing that I came up with. And behind that, what is the loose end? Like, what did they do to become a loose end was my exact immediate next thought.
Could it be around some espionage shit, Epstein bullshit, or could it be around something alien type, extraterrestrial? I don't know. Could be around all three. I don't know.
And you know how I am. And you know how I am, Reverend. Whenever they're throwing something in our face and making sure that we're digesting it, I want to find out, why are you distracting me from what you're not telling me? And like there's always these little crumbs, like the story that you'll hear one time throughout the day on an all-day news channel, but you'll hear this same story 15 times in an hour. But you'll hear this story once in the morning, and you might be lucky to catch it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if they played it again.
Yep.
Exactly.
So, I mean, do you want me to go ahead and play the other two, Revan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Which one you want me to go through? String of 11 missing or never returned?
Never returned.
All right. I'll bring that up right now. Yummy.
The White House is actively working, they say, with the FBI and other agencies, investigating the deaths or disappearances under very strange circumstances in many of these of scientists who were very deeply involved in our defense, nuclear, and space programs. Fox News Digital reports that some of them have ties to UFO or UAP, as they call it, research. President Trump says he had a meeting about this yesterday, and that we could have some answers in the next week and a half, calling it, quote, pretty serious stuff. With that, we bring in Chris Swecker, former assistant director of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division and an attorney. Chris, thank you very much for joining us here. These are very disturbing stories of how all of these people disappeared. Tell us, how you got interested in this story, what you've learned as you've kind of followed and dug in to what happened to all these different people.
Well, I started to get calls from media outlets asking about, what at the time was 7 scientists. Well, it originally was General McCaslin, went off hiking, left all his personal items at home and never returned. And then that kind of expanded to 7 scientists.
Yeah, that's what I was
missing
initially
or
talking
died
about.
Mysteriously. Now it's up to 10. So it's really the media that's making these connections. The point that I have made several times is, this doesn't look like a grand conspiracy here by the government or anyone else to take these scientists out because they were involved with UFOs and that sort of thing. What I've said is the most likely scenario in some of the cases, particularly General McCaslin and Monica Chavez.
Oh, there's
is
professionalism.
That they worked on very sensitive technology. China and Russia and other hostile foreign intelligence services are after that information all the time. Day in and day out, there's a cat and mouse game that takes place. And these scientists are targeted at Los Alamos, at the Jet Propulsion Lab, at sensitive Air Force facilities out west. And it's an everyday occurrence. The FBI briefs them all the time and tells them what to look out for. So what may be happening here in some of these cases is modern day espionage. It's trying to grab this technology, steal it, or disrupt it, because it is very sensitive. It has application to war making and weaponry, missile technology, nuclear technology, et cetera. So, I don't think the 10 are connected, but I think something's going on in some of the cases.
So Eric Burleson, a representative from Missouri on the House Oversight Committee, has been following this closely, and he's digging into it. He says this is not normal. Watch.
This is not normal. These are some of the most advanced scientists, researchers in our nation, some of the most important people for a nation's national security efforts, and they all just mysteriously disappeared.
I was reading an account of a young woman who would be the 11th person on this list who took her own life. But she had been posting things that were disturbing in terms of saying, that there was information and that people were coming after her. Now, there's a number of reasons why she might have thought that, but one of the reasons would be that it was potentially true.
Yeah, some of them are potential suicides. Some are homicides that are explained. For example, the Brown mass shooter went up and shot an MIT professor. You can take that one out. I mean, there's another one was a carjacking and a burglary. I think you can probably take that one out. But then there still remains some very serious concerns, and the FBI needs to be all over this. They are the only agency that does counterintelligence, is the primary and in the front lines in the realm of counterintelligence. They are the spy catchers. They are supposed to catch people who are trying to disrupt our technology or trying to steal our technology or target our professors and scientists who are working on that technology. So, it looks to me like, this is something the FBI should have been on yesterday. And they may well have been. They don't talk about these classified cases.
Chris Swecker, as always, great to have you. Thank you very much.
Now I get the whole thing about going out for a walk for the day, but being gone, all of a sudden you're found dead.
Yeah, that's highly suspect.
I mean,
and the fact that this has happened to so many prominent people in prominent fields is highly questionable.
Now, two possibilities is that 5 are dead, 5 are missing. One got shot right on the front doorstep. One got shot. Same thing, front doorstep. Now something tells me that could it be all around Epstein? I don't know. Could it be espionage? I don't know. Now,
what leads anybody to believe that this had anything to do with the Epstein files or Epstein in general?
I don't know. But we all know that CIA doesn't shitty shit. So it's Mossad.
Yes.
But now, something like this, the CIA would definitely keep an eye, because sometimes certain technology, certain kind of things that are like, oh, okay, are looked at very carefully, very closely, and very monitored very carefully. Now, Mossad would definitely, because hey, whatever,
Because why? Because they're what?
Nuts. I mean,
that wasn't the word I was looking for.
Warmongers. I mean,
not the word I'm looking for. The hands on the button.
Jews!
He said it!
Exactly.
I hit the big button.
Yeah. I mean, gotta think about. I mean, they killed off, assassinated Iranian scientist. I mean,
yeah.
Why? Because we believe that Iran is creating nuclear weapons to look. We all know for the past several weeks, even months now, there's even been evidence that Iran has allowed people to come in and search. Found nothing. But Israel, oh no, we're good. Nothing to see here, folks. Why?
Yeah. Holding up that anti-Semitism card as a fucking security blanket.
And then you got Lebanon got fucking bombed, killing civilians. Definitely a war crime against humanity, man. Could be the same thing here with the scientists, or now what? 5 dead, 5 missing. Holy shit!
And you can bet they're probably going to show up dead. I mean, if they're missing at this point, it's only a matter of time before the bodies are found.
I mean, this is a equivalent.
I highly doubt they went down to the South Pole.
This is a equivalent of natural health doctors who were found dead, floating belly up in the river, found dead on the side of the road. I mean, come on, man.
It's highly sus.
This is too fucking fishy, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
none of it makes sense.
That's like if me and Curzero worked on a project to how can we get off the grid and not rely on state power or state power?
We need to go now. The deep state is scraping our signals. They're eating the babies. No time to explain.
Exactly. I mean, it's like they don't want you to come up with something that could benefit not just the world, but mankind.
Yeah. They don't. The Greater Israel Project is for Greater Israel only, and fuck everybody else. Now, I don't know, but I don't know if that has any ties to this. Like, what evidence do we have that suggests they are tied to this?
So, what I just did was I just quickly went and ran through everything. And what my hypothesis was is exactly what the machine is spitting out to me, and I gave the machine little to no information about anything. I was like, here's a list of names. Tell me how their jobs relate and what they can do together. And then I gave them the 11 names. And the exact thing that they called it would be Next Generation Deep Space Defense and Exploration System. So me explaining it earlier in the show is pretty much dead on what those words altogether mean.
Starfleet in its infancy.
Correct. We have found the embryo. They're looking for the embryo, and they're tying up the loose ends of how they found the embryo.
You give me that funny feeling in my tummy.
They're pulling a Genghis Khan, man.
Yeah, well, we've already determined that Jesus could whoop the shit out of Genghis Khan, despite what Netanyahu says.
Well, the thing is, like when he died, the ones that knew of his location of his burial plot, each of them were killed to tie off loose ends on the location. Like it's really not surprising that one of them ended up walking off with the handgun, leaving behind his keys, his wallet.
Yeah, one's an isolated incident. Two is we've got a problem. And, you want to talk about the whole thing with, Israel acting like Genghis Khan, but Bibi Netanyahu came out with that little statement saying that Jesus couldn't beat Genghis Khan. Now, on that, we got to go ahead and do a quick plug. We do have the "Do Not Bet Against the Lord, Jesus versus Genghis Khan" poster. Yeah, I did it.
He went there.
I went there. We've even got stickers, guys. I made stickers. We got a lot of good shit. We got the posters. We got the stickers. We've got... Everybody's loving this. These are our hottest seller right now. Is the if the prices go up, they go up. Trump gas price sticker. I personally like these. You got Toad Blanche, Spam Bundy, Lindsey Graham crackers, and MAGA oranges. Nice little lunch pack there. Trump Apologist Network, the Charlie Kirk, The Truth is Louder Than Bullets memorial shirt. And I have to be a condescending asshole, even though Toilet Paper USA has gone the opposite direction of what Charlie Kirk intended. We have the Toilet Paper USA because they're full of shit t-shirt. I'm thinking maybe turning Propagandist USA would be more accurate. But yeah, we got those. We've got the Epstein Lemon Penis Wanted poster t-shirt. Anonymous, Where Art Thou? The Zionist butt plug. The counter protest to the No Kinks protest. Your No Strings protest shirts. The classic TWRN merch. Hats. Drinking utensils. Bumper stickers. Cell phone cases. You name it. All at realtwbrand.printify.me. And I promise you, these are the lowest prices around. Like, you tell me where you're going to find a fucking shirt for $22.99. Yang. Guarantee you. Ain't nobody got their merch that low. All at realtwbrand.printify.me. Sorry, I had to do our plug right there. And I assume Jenny had to jump off for a minute.
Okay. I smacked the machine around a little more. And according to what we're researching, this happened between 2022 and 2026 where they began to start missing, correct?
Yes.
So basically, the 0 to 5 years is phase 1, and that's about expand detection networks, improve asteroid tracking. Phase 2 is the 5 to 15 years, where they actually create prototype propulsion systems and autonomous spacecraft. So that goes back to what I was stating. I don't remember how long ago I started this phrase. The faster than light spacecraft will remain in pieces as long as everybody wants their cut.
Yeah.
So basically, they're at the point where they figured out the tracking system to make sure they don't run into or hit asteroids, or can make sure they can destroy an asteroid in their path. Now they're working on the actual thing to put it into, the actual vehicle.
Okay, so they got the guidance system figured out. Now they're just trying to figure out the structural integrity of the vehicle.
Correct. And that's where that one person comes in, and it even explains all that. But I'm just giving you a brief overview of the details that are most grounded in what is plausible right now.
All right, well, you guys carry on with that. I'm going to go pay.
Now, who? Now, the thing is there anybody who could be benefited from this? I mean, I'm just putting out there. I mean,
honestly, I don't.
No. You got DARPA for one thing. You got DARPA. You got who else? Grumman. You have shit. I think the main two is DARPA, as well as not Boeing, but I think DARPA mostly. It probably be.
I see NASA, DARPA, and U.S. Department of Energy for the answer on that question. Yet, what I'm sitting here thinking about is, it's like what Tin Man said. It's Starfleet in its infancy, pretty much. And yes, they figured out the guidance system where they can detect or get rid of asteroids, specifically, is what this over here is emphasizing about. But from the timeline, they're at the very beginning of starting. This is what we need to put on the exterior of the ship, and what the inside of the ship needs to be built out of. And that's where some of these other people come in. But if they're if they're getting rid of the entire team that started up everything, does that mean that they're already, where is it at down here, at the 15 to 30 year mark?
Probably, man. I mean,
because the 15 to 30 year mark literally says deep space infrastructure, humans mission beyond Mars orbit. And Elon is thinking about working on that. And I've always agreed with the point that we're going to have to set up some kind of base on the moon before we even decide to think about touching Mars. But Queen put something down over here.
Yeah, her phone overheated and shut down, and my thoughts of it is someone on the side is telling me something that has multiple outcomes.
Yeah, right now we're on a very uneasy, unsure path. And what I'm guessing is that they got the guidance system done, and they took the idea on how to build the ship already. So they're going to get people to build the ship now, because your person that draws the picture isn't the one that builds the building, if that makes any sense to you.
Now, the question is, who designed the space shuttles back in the day? I mean, the last one was the Endeavor. That on it entry. You had the Endeavor, the Discovery, the Challenger, the Columbia, and now could it be that it's about using this technology to to design and build the new shuttles? if you think about it.
Search is stating something about North American Rockwell. Are the makers of the space shuttles, but it's speaking in past tense, so I don't know what to say.
Let me see here.
They have Lockheed Martin provided the components for the external tank, and THIOKOL manufactured the solid rocket boosters. I guess Boeing and Rockwell are together because there's a slash over here.
There's a North American Aviation. Aerospace merger with merger. North American Rockwell, founded in 1928. Founders were Clement Melville Keyes, defunct March of '67. Key people were John Leland Atwood, John James H. Kindleberger, Harold Rayner, RAYNOR, Harrison Storms. Parent is General Motors, 33 of 48. Division is Atomic International Aeronautics, Market 9.
Okay, I'm back.
So yeah, they're probably definitely working on the engine and the hull now, since they've got the tracking system apparently figured out.
Okay.
The engine, in my opinion, would be the more difficult part, but some would say that the hull would be the more difficult part because we have no idea what kind of material we'll use to go beyond where we are right here, because we've only been to the moon.
Theoretically. I mean, there's a lot of speculation saying we never went to the moon and that all this Artemis shit is just soundstage bullshit.
It is.
Which I do see where the arguments are coming from, but that's neither here nor there.
They created that same rocket as they did back in the was it 68, 69?
Yet we have the space shuttle that it's supposed to be more advanced that we were using in the 90s and early 2000s. Why not use that?
Okay, I'll level with y'all. America may or may not stage their space events, but I'm telling you, man, these other countries that do other things and show us live broadcasts of landing on the moon and doing their projects, it's not America. You don't see green screens. You see legit things going on with these other countries. They don't have like a whole talk show about it. So, yeah, I can level with you and give you that America probably is bullshitting the bullshitters about space exploration. But these other people, they don't have it as a interaction kind of thing. You sit there, you watch it happen, and the feed cuts.
Yeah, well, I find it interesting. We had the Roswell crash in the 1950s, and then all of a sudden it's aliens from another planet. And all of a sudden we're in this space race. What if it's not space? What if it's interdimensional? What if these things are like interdimensional beings, not interstellar?
And I'm agreeing with you to a sense, because there's obviously some kind of time dilation that occurs, because you have to have some sort of propulsion engine that puts you near or beyond light speed in order to get between a star to another star.
Yeah, and even at the speed of light, which is in theory from the Earth to the Sun, light travels. The light traveling would take about 8 minutes to get here. So you figure light traveling from one star to an adjacent star would be astronomically longer, even at the speed of light. So you would be having to go way beyond the speed of light.
I think the closest star is 4 light years from us, which means the light from it takes 4 years to get to us. So basically, traveling at light speed, it will take 4 years from that star to this star. So, in a sense, traveling at those speeds, I don't think that they have beings that live for thousands of years or they have generational ships. I think they actually have a way to slide around the Higgs boson to appear where they choose to. And it's like warp speed. It's the universe is moving around them like Futurama.
Yeah. And that would make sense. Or, even interdimensional travel. I'm not one to speculate on the whole flat Earth theory or whether or not we actually went to the moon or anything like that. I wasn't there. I'm just
here.
I'm just forming my opinion based on what I can see, and I can honestly see the arguments saying that the Artemis looks like bullshit. Like, how are you fucking handling a fucking capsule that just was on the cusp of burning up in the atmosphere? How the fuck are you touching that with your bare hands? No, you're not. Where's the steam coming off that motherfucker?
The reason why I legitimately say it is for show is because on my feed, it was them washing their hair in space. And I'm like, okay, so you're literally putting on a show. So that is telling me this is fake. So yeah, I'm with you on the side that America is full of shit because they want to celebritize might be the word. Celebritize everything. And
apparently some of those astronauts are former television stars. So
yeah.
So I mean, take that with what you will. But back to these scientists. We have these scientists. We see how their work correlates. We see that their work isn't finished, but yet they were disposed of as exterminating liability. Makes you wonder what's about to happen. What's going on that warrants these people being eliminated as a loose end? Were they getting ready to talk? Is something getting ready to happen?
Did you realize how I well, you might not have been here whenever I said you do realize the drawer of the project isn't the one who builds the actual project. They just drew up all the blueprints. That's what it seems like to me. Everybody who had any meaning on the blueprint side has just been taken care of. Everything else needs actual engineers and construction workers.
So they basically got all the Legos and the schematics ready. They're just waiting for someone from IKEA to put it together.
Right.
Okay, so their usefulness has run its course.
That's why you tie the loose end, because once the loose end becomes useless.
Okay, so in theory, we're at the point of this technology being ready to be implemented. At which point, what are we looking at in terms of this technology and how it's going to impact the world stage?
Could it be a weapon? Could it be?
That's the one thing that it was like kind of against, but kind of defensive weaponry about, which is the reason why that general is gone, because he had knowledge in, and we're not talking Star Trek weapons here. We're still talking kinetic weapons, so that everybody's on the same page here.
Okay.
And from what I can determine, if we stay in the pacifist note, we're going to attempt to try to harvest something from the asteroid belt. But you know me, they're not going to tell the private sector about this. These are all hypotheticals. But
whatever they're really up to, they're not going to say.
But this is what the other people on their we're specialists in how to what are asteroids made out of, what will cause an asteroid to disassemble, or how can we stuff like that. You get my point?
Yeah. Side note, real quick. Jenny said that her phone overheated and shut down on her, and she thinks something. Her intuition is telling her that the missing are on different timelines. So basically, maybe they got fucked. Maybe they're fucking with time travel, interstellar, stargates, perhaps. Can we rule out those possibilities based on what we know they were working on? Or did I make your head explode just now?
No, the only example that I can give you in turn would be if one of us was sitting on a park bench, but also the opposite one of us was running past while we were both looking at Andromeda at the same time. The one that's running versus the one that's sitting will see a farther along the line, so to speak, than the one sitting. The one sitting will see right now versus the one running will see next week's broadcast, if that makes any sense, because that's how time relativity works.
Or maybe they could be building a Stargate.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, they maybe astronomy and astrophysics in outer space is just beyond our reach, and or maybe it's just not of any interest at all. You know, maybe the flat earthers are right and we can't get into space because there's nothing to get to. I don't know. For whatever reason, maybe we can't get there. So they're diverting their attention and just using this as a front while working on things like time travel, stargates, interdimensional travel. That's what I think.
I mean, there's a good possibility. I mean, the far we got technical wise, you know.
Yeah,
I think we got pretty far, but when it comes to NASA shit, there's something that they're doing maybe with DARPA or Grumman, a few other known companies, you know, that work, plus SpaceX. So,
yeah, you know, maybe we can't get into space for whatever reason, and it's just a front for all these other projects. You know, a Stargate, time travel. Again, Vance was saying that he believes that aliens are actually demons. At which point, that's a non-physical thing. Maybe the technology we're dealing with,
thing.
Yeah, maybe it's crossing that threshold from the immaterial into the material for them. And what you know as spacesuits or these gray aliens may be just a form of technology that allows them to interact physically on the physical plane. Another theory is you look back at what was the alien interrogation, and the alien was saying that they're from the future, a post-nuclear war future. Oh, what caused the nuclear war? Dogma. So we could be dealing with something like that as well. Me personally, I'm kind of inclined to go with Vance on this one and say that, you know, maybe this is demonic, non-physical beings trying to interact physically with the physical world and develop technologies to where they can not only interact with us on a physical level, but maybe even control us. You look at things like Neuralink and all that. What is the primary thing that they say that Satan can't do? He can he can plant thoughts into your heads, but he can't know what you're thinking. He doesn't know what you're thinking, know what you're feeling. And that's why you're told to pray in secret and, keep your prayers non-vocal, because there's always two people listening on the other end of the line, because Satan and his minions can't read your thoughts or read what's in your heart like God can. They can only put thoughts in, but they can't take information out. But maybe things like the Neuralink and all this technology is allowing them to be able to interact with us physically and even control us and know and prospectively at some point even control what we think, say, and do.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they found out through varying projects that were related to MK Ultra. That it's much easier to manipulate a mind than it is to control a mind.
Yes, absolutely. And we see all these new technologies coming out, and we see the government getting ready to declassify the UFO files and whatnot. At which point, what's the point of killing these guys if what they know is already fitting to be declassified? Unless what they are working on is something completely fucking different than what we're being fed to in the public eye. That it's not aliens, UFOs, and space travel. It's interdimensional demons and a theological battle transitioning from the metaphysical to the physical plane.
Yeah.
I think I just made some people's heads explode.
I'm not saying that it can't be true that beings from damnation are not crossing over into Earth.
No.
I mean, there could be many possibilities of knowing who's behind these missing. It's not just being missing and end up dead.
Absolutely. And as far as like the spiritual connotation of this, I mean, we've talked about this before. What if what we understand as magic and spiritualism is nothing more than technology that we, in our limited capacity as human beings, have not yet begun to understand? It's like hocus pocus. Kid holding up a lighter in his hands, the witches from the 1800s are thinking that he's making fucking fire in his hands when all it is a fucking lighter.
Yeah.
Now let's just put that on a more grandiose scale. Maybe that's what the spiritual realm is. And what we perceive as magic and miracles is nothing more than a level of science that we do not understand. It's already been declassified that the human body is essentially a transceiver or liquid crystal that can transmit and receive information. Now, who's receiving that information? Who is sending the information into us? Now, we can figure maybe Satan can transmit but can't receive, but wants to be able to have that information so that he can receive as well as transmit, ergo having a more direct line of control over the thinking, thoughts, actions, and words of human beings. And we already know that these spiritual beings are metaphysical. They're not physical, but yet at some point in human history, they mated with human women and created the Nephilim prior to the flood, at which point they were able to have taken on a physical form. Now, they say the Watchers gave mankind forbidden technology. What if part of that forbidden technology is the same technology that we are now researching now and is what got these people killed? The technology to bring the non-corporeal, non-physical beings into the physical. Breaking the natural laws of nature itself.
That could be one of many loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
You had one who's working on a heat-resistant material and a metal alloy.
Yeah.
And we already know that it's not that they can physically control the weather, but they can pretty much direct the weather patterns.
Yeah, they can influence but not control. There's difference between, like you were saying, you can influence the mind, but you can't control the mind.
And I don't know if we've said this on a live yet, but there's some kind of app where you can actually order sunlight, and it can be used for private or government use.
Why is it I got the feeling that Bill Gates has something to do with that shit?
No. It's some random kids, but if you probably look into the stuff behind it, you'll probably find Bill Gates along the way. But it's some kind of app that you can download, and you can order sunlight to a specific area. Let me go look it up real quick so I can have better information for you.
Yeah, send it in email, and then I'll pull it up, because that sounds like some Bill Gates shit right there, like some straight up Bill Gates shit.
That's what it's called. It's called Reflect Orbital.
Reflect Orbital. Let's see what we can find here.
Yeah, I'll send you this link. You want to send it in the private chat?
Just go ahead and send it in general chat, in our general chat, and I'll put it up. Okay, ground news. No,
all right, there you go.
Okay, Reflect Orbital. Let's see what we got here. Okay, home products, light. Limits.
It's these satellites. They flip over the satellite, and I'll put like spotlight sunlight at night.
Are you talking about some Batman and Robin type shit?
They spin a reflective satellite around where some Gotham, some unfreeze Gotham type shit. A fucking satellite that's reflecting, and it'll send sunlight to where you order it to.
Oh my god. Wow. Bill Gates is now ripping off Joel Schumacher. That is pathetic.
Real talk, dude. Real talk. Just the things that are available and becoming available that we never thought were plausible.
Yeah. So, have we pretty much covered every angle, or are there some angles that you yet to uncover, Zero?
I wanted to briefly look at the northern part of Michigan, where they're, quote, using nature to remove citizens so that they can put in data centers, but that's all speculation and theory, even though the exact part in northern Michigan is completely flooded.
Yeah, they're talking about doing the same thing in many areas of California. Those AI data centers. I think they need to put a cap on that shit and just say, no AI. AI bad. We can function as a society without AI, or even just AI as it is. We do not need to be crossing this line. I think there needs to be legislation drawing the line in the sand that says, okay, the buck stops here.
Well, they did put some legislation up that these data centers need to have adjacent power plants attached to them for them.
Yeah, it's for AI. I'm talking about in opposition to AI. I want legislation that pumps the fucking brakes on AI. That's what I want.
In my opinion, I still haven't seen anything above a highly advanced large language model that can replicate what you're asking it to by doing the heavy load, doing the heavy lifting, so to speak, of searching every plausibility of every website and coming to a conclusion about what's been stated multiple times instead of what's randomly thought about. And it's just doing the heavy lifting. It's kind of like a calculator.
Yeah. Is there, Reverend, you got thoughts?
Even if there was a legislation, one side would hold it for ransom unless they get something in return.
Yeah.
Like why? What? Like what? Why throw that in the mix when there's a alleged legislation that would pump the brakes? We want something in return. What? We want to power wash your asshole? I don't think so.
Yeah. They need. We've really lost touch with reality as far as the people in power. It's like, oh, well, I'm not signing this unless you give me something in return. It's like, dude, that's not how this fucking works. Okay? You do what's in the best interest of the country and bring about the will of the American people, or you don't hold power. And it used to be at one point, if you didn't do what the will of the people, they'd drag you out of your house and hang your ass, or
something about
you to do the headless boogie.
Something about tarring and feathering politicians. They need to bring that back.
Oh, it used to be worse than that. Look about in the early 1800s, during the French Revolutions, they were dragging these motherfuckers out of their beds in the middle of the night and lopping off their heads in the courtyard. These motherfuckers were not playing around.
Several years ago,
and a leader got stupid back then. That would be the last mistake they ever made. And I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just quoting historical fact here.
Iceland, several years ago, they ended up locking up their politicians and shit.
Yeah. They've given themselves too much power and taken too much power away from the people. And there's due to be a shift, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russia did the same to the kings not even more than a century ago. Good observation, Queenie.
The Romanovs.
Yep. Wonder whatever did happen to the real Anastasia.
She's found buried.
But yeah, man, I'd like to have more public knowledge about these quantum computers instead of these large language models being shoved down our face. Because these quantum computers are more interesting in my perspective than these large language models are.
Fair enough.
Because it's been told that they literally look into different plausible realities in order to get their answers, unlike an LLM just mimics what it's being shown.
Exactly.
Yeah. So where do we want to take it now, gentlemen?
I think we could put the turkey in the oven, man.
You want to put turkey in the oven?
Yeah.
All right, I can put turkey in the oven.
And I think everybody agrees that the toothpicks to hold the aluminum foil off the turkey is the best idea ever.
I'll roll with that. So let's go ahead. I'm not even sure what to make of it, honestly. There was just so many thoughts and opinions surrounding what has happened and why, and the perspective reasons why. And as time goes on, I'm sure we're probably going to see that body count going higher, speculation as to what's going on, broadening, and the answers will probably be a lot fucking nuttier than what we initially thought. So, on that note, I guess we just leave it there. If anybody has any more thoughts and opinions on the matter, keep the conversation going in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Myself, Revin, and the others, we all jump on board in the comment section and we'll keep the conversation with you guys going throughout the week. Tomorrow we got Great Jedi TV. Revin, what will we be covering tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night we will cover part 2 of exposing pedophiles and groomers in the gaming community.
All right.
2 o'clock my time, 9 your time, and Eastern.
Sounds good. Look forward to seeing everybody there. And as always, Tin Man TV, 11:30 a.m. Wednesday morning. And then the roundtable resumes its normal schedule if I don't get stuck having to hold over again. Yeah. You got people who want everything to work. Okay. Won't just take the money, motherfuckers. I'm just tired of working on third shift. That's all. So, do you want to work third shift? No. That's why I went to second shift. Duh. But I digress. But on that note, we will have our number 5 joining us. His name is Ben. Very smart young man. Not Generation X like us. He's a bit younger.
Gen Z.
I'm not Generation X either. I'm Gen Y, man.
Yeah, he's more Gen Z. Very smart young man. Very open-minded.
He's what we call
very like-minded.
He's part of that 50%. One side is full of shit. Other side is just mind.
Yeah, and he is definitely one of those people that when the race started, he took off running and he got as much information in his brain as he could. Very, very smart young man, very much willing to question everything that he's been told and research everything. Basically, the prime example of everything we have been telling civilization to do for the past 20 years is to stop, think, and question everything. Like this young man, I would say would be the embodiment of that.
Yeah.
So he'll be joining us at 11:30 Saturday morning for the roundtable as our number 5. So until then, this is Tin Man, Chris Sheldon with the Worldwide Resistance Network, Revin, Zero, and Jenny, who's in the comments. Until next time, we are the Worldwide Resistance Network. You are the Worldwide Resistance Network. So if you are watching this, you are the resistance. Stay strong, stay safe. God bless you all. And never give up the fight. Till next time, peace.
True.